Nope, nope.
There you go.
So I want to welcome everybody tonight to our training session. Steve Hayes is the Americanism Chair for Boy Scouts. And wait, I think I said that backwards. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Steve, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm good to go. You should be seeing a 2022 scouting update, Department of Colorado slide up on your screens shared. If not, let me know. But I'm the Department of Colorado Scouting Chair under the Americanism Committee for American Legion Department of Colorado. I'm also currently, Vice President for the Pathway to the Rockies Council, which basically formed out of the merger of the old Pikes Peak Council and Rocky Mountain Council, which covers about a third of the state in southeastern Colorado. A couple other hats, chartering organization rep, and I've been doing scouting for about 49 years this year. So I put my email address and phone number, as well as a link to where the scouting materials folder is that you can access with that link. All right, now there's about 4 folders under that. This brief is in one of those folders, so you can download it at your leisure as well. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few things fairly quickly, and you guys can ask questions anytime you want. There's only about a dozen of us on here. So what I'm going to start off with is a couple of the awards that you have. The first one is for youth. It's the American Legion Eagle Scout of the Year program. The 2022 selection cycle is complete. And, we're announcing that the Colorado Eagle Scout of the Year is Charlotte Beatson. She's with Troop 114 in Littleton, Colorado. And she had a very substantial package that has been submitted to national. At the competition in national, they will choose one winner and 3 runners up. The winner gets a $10,000 scholarship, and then the runners up each get $2,500 scholarship. So we're waiting. We should hear about that probably within the next 1 to 2 weeks on the national selection status. The 2023 nomination forms and instructions, those normally post about November of each year. So we anticipate that around November of 2022, and we'll put that together and update instructions. But for reference, the forms do not change very much. For scouting programs in your posts, you can refer to the link right now. This link reflects where they're stored on the Post 209 site, and they're available for download. It's the 2022 application form, as well as the instruction and information sheet for 2022. Like I say, they can't use that to submit, but they can use that to build their package. And then once the 2023 forms post, then they can go in, double check to make sure that their package is complete for the new form and the new requirements, and then submit that package. Packages have to be submitted to the department by the 1st of March every year. We have the month of March to select our state selectee, and then we have to have that before 1 April back to national for their selection process. So any questions on Eagle Scout of the Year? Okay. Square Dot Award. This is an American Legion. It is there is a what they call a community service knot on the scouting side, and there's several organizations that have awards. VFW does, American Legion for the Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal, AFL-CIO. Several organizations have their own requirements, and then once that's complete, then on the scouting, they're awarded a certificate through the Legion for the Square Knot Award. And then on the scouting side, they get the community organization knot to wear on their uniform. There's no new updates for the awards. They did a revision back in 2020. Again, the instruction and information sheet for Colorado is posted on the at the link on this, as well as a fillable nomination form. Now, there's several requirements for this. There's about 5 different areas on the award. And basically, individuals have to complete a selection of each of those 5 areas before they're qualified and eligible. What we find with most scouters is they don't submit themselves for awards. So if somebody kind of does the interview process with an individual that is worthy of the award and kind of collects the information and builds the package, that's the best way to get it complete, to get them recognized. But the bottom line is they have to be active. They have to be trained in the positions they're operating in. They have to do additional training qualifications or participation levels beyond just a basic position in scouting, and it has to be sustained over a period of years. So so this is for your those folks that have done the heavy lifting for the scouting programs in your post, or the Legion members that maybe not through a post program, but externally to scouting programs, but are still members of your post. They qualify for this as well. The completed packages have to be endorsed by basically the post commander, and then submitted at any time during the year to the department. It should be submitted attention to me, because then it'll get flagged and I can follow up to make sure all the follow-up actions get complete. There are department endorsements that have to be added to the package, and then it gets submitted to the National American Commission for the final approval. That can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months to get turned around and back from a national. So if an individual is worthy, don't tie it to a specific presentation date when the package is submitted, because it could take a while. And again, all these materials here, they've got links within the brief, but these are also posted at that link I have posted in the chat on one in one of the folders. So the big thing for discussion here, and we may have some questions as well. Right now we're at a kind of a crossroads. We're coming out of the pandemic. And I'll talk about at the end about the BSA, the status of the BSA Chapter 11, and why and how it got there. But between those two things, scouting's had a very tough time over the last couple of years. But as we're coming out of both the pandemic and that Chapter 11, there are significant opportunities for the American Legion to help the BSA program grow, as well as bring a younger demographic into our post family. As some of you've heard me talk about before, the scouting is one of our oldest youth programs in the Legion. At the first convention in 1919, a formal relationship was established with the Boy Scouts of America program. And this does not fall under children and youth. This falls under Americanism, because scouting is a partner organization in supporting that pillar of our program. And so that is a strong thing. So with that background, as I said, there's some significant opportunities for post to charter new or existing units throughout the state of Colorado. We have had several units who have, during the course of the pandemic, some of them lost their charter partners to the pandemic. And we lost several units that now may be coming up to reform. And now that we're out of the pandemic and grow, as well as you have families that have youth and an you know, age demographic that your post may not be serving at the current time, and those who are not in scouting and have not been in scouting, but that program may be appropriate for where they're at. So if you have families with youth in your post, chartering a scouting unit is a great way to get things started. The age groups break out basically for the Cub Scout program, age 5 through 10 years. And that's for both boys and girls. They can have, you know, separate boy dens and girl dens within the same pack, or you can have a pack for boys or a pack for girls. Scouts BSA is the next age group, the traditional troop program. That's for age 11 to 18, and that's boys and girls, but in that program, they are not co-ed. You have troops for boys, you have troops for girls. And then the venturing age program starts at age 14. That is a fully co-ed program. Venturing was split out of exploring in 1998 as a separate, mostly high adventure focused program. The youth in that they're basically within that program operate as venturers from 14 till they turn 21, basically their 21st birthday. Exploring and Sea Cadets, there's separate program. We don't typically run charters through that, but if you have a maritime type situation, you could do Sea Scouting. Those are kind of one-off things. However, those programs have both been co-ed since 1971, and like I say, venturing since 1998. Working within those programs, you know, our post has several. We have 6 total scout units at post 209, 2 Cub Scout packs. Both of those have boys and girls. We have 3 scout troops. 2 of those are troops for boys, 1 troop for girls. And we have 1 venture crew, which is a shooting sports crew. Which kind of leads me to this next bullet, the scouting programs. They are a good way to feed, support, and synchronize and support. There's a lot of mutual support that go back and forth between the scouting program and your post programs. First of all, that junior auxiliary and SAL, and the venture crew especially, what we've seen in our post is that has started to kind of invigorate the junior level participation in the other programs as it's coming in. But our other programs, oratorical, boys, girls state, young guns, and our junior shooting sports. As a matter of fact, our venture crew is moving through. They have a number of instructors, and our instructor base and being able to operate that program is greatly enhanced with the venture crew involvement. American Legion Baseball is another. Think of any kind of youth program. There's a patch program available. It's all the materials are under the auxiliary, but it is for both SAL and auxiliary that can be used for youth. And many of the requirements for those patches directly relate across to scouting advancement requirements. So this is a good way to kind of invigorate youth program and feed from the scouting program into those youth programs in your post for the Legion, as well as enhance both the adult and youth membership in Legion. The adult and the Legion, and then the youth and the SAL and the auxiliary, junior auxiliary. So a very symbiotic relationship can be built within this. And frankly, you know, in my opinion, you know, if we want to appeal to a younger demographic in our posts that are family oriented, the kids that are in these posts will have membership, you know, eligible adults in that younger demographic, and we have seen that in our very active scouting programs that those adults are more prone to join the Legion with a Legion chartered unit. So if you do not have a scouting unit currently, there's you know, you can reach out to me. You know, phone number and email is in the chat. It's also on this file. You can also download, there's a Charter Organization Representative Guidebook that is in a resources folder that's in the link in the chat. And that outlines all of the charter organization responsibilities and what a charter organization does for a unit. Charter organization is what you call anyone that sponsors a scouting unit. And the way BSA is based is BSA provides essentially the program resources and the program structure that comes with the scouting program, but the chartered organizations are the ones that actually own the units that operate under their charter. So BSA themselves, the only units that they typically run are what we call Scout Reach units, which are used to serve under underprivileged areas and reach into communities where chartered partners are not available. Okay. If you need more information about opportunities in your area, again, reach out to me. The additional slide in here, and this is a real eye chart, using the map and the information in here, you can actually reach out directly to a Scout Council. It has the district executives current as of about a month and a half ago. I check and try to update this file every couple, 3 months. But it's got email and phone number for what you call district executives that serve the different counties that the councils serve. Essentially, and on the map, it's still Greater Wyoming Lawns Peak that is going through the process of a name change at Venture West Council. Originally, Longs Peak was just very small. Most of it was in Colorado, but that council now covers that northeastern part of Colorado, as well as probably 80% of Wyoming and a large part of the Nebraska Panhandle. Denver Area Council also going through a name change currently. They recently merged about 2 years ago with the Western Colorado Council, and they cover that whole from Denver area out through Grand Junction and down to Montrose area. And then Pathway to the Rockies, and that's the merger between Rocky Mountain Council and Pikes Peak Council that covers that whole southeast portion. And then we have a small area down around Durango, Mancos, Cortez, down into Four Corners that is a district called San Juan District, and that's part of Great Southwest Council headquartered down in Albuquerque. So there's that tells you between reaching out to me from the Legion side and these individuals for whatever county you're operating in, that is where you start. If you're going to start a unit from scratch, that's going to take a little bit of work because you basically need to do the legwork to pull the families together that have an interest in scouting, determine what the best age group is, whether it's a pack program, a troop program, or a venture crew, and kind of generate what that interest is, and then bring that information to the district executive and myself, and we can work, to get the assistance necessary to help you get things started. Okay. The last thing I have for me on the slides, and we can go in, answer any questions or anything that you need, is an update on the National Chapter 11. Okay. A little bit of backstory on this is it's now up to, I believe, about 27 states across the United States. In recent years, this started probably about 4 or 5 years ago. States began removing the statute of limitations for youth that have been abused under any kind of youth program at any time. Each state is a little different. Colorado, as of July 6, 2021, lifted the statute of limitations until 2025, and that has a look back to 1960. So a youth that was abused under any kind of youth program in schools, in church, anything, in Colorado, can now sue as if the incident happened yesterday. And that will go on through 2025. Now, in face of this, the BSA was one of the first major organizations that began to be that suits began to be laid against in a more of a class action type manner. The tort lawyers that are doing this, it's a very lucrative thing for them, and so they have a lot of incentive to drum up the support. You remember seeing advertisements, for about a year, ending almost a year ago, about scouting, and if you were using scouting, to call these numbers. You will see more and more of those, because once they're complete with the scouting program, you're going to see them turn to youth sports and church programs and other programs. So you're going to continue to see that for probably a period of years. The BSA was just the first. BSA, basically the litigation crush, what they elected to do was at national BSA move to a Chapter 11 reorganization and settlement process. And that is now entering the final stages. The objective for the BSA has always been to fulfill its mission to serve youth, while ensuring that any substantiated abuse victims are properly cared for. And that has always been our process, even when they litigated before this process started. Like I said, BSA is the first go through this, and you're going to see more of these in the future once scouting is complete. The court proceedings for the bankruptcy completed in April, and the final stages of the settlement include protections for all chartering organizations for all cases since 1976, and that's for organizations that are not contributing a financial sum to the settlement. The American Legion is in this category. There are other organizations that did contribute to the settlement fund, and they are protected for all time under the settlement. Okay, but the important thing to know is you already know if you're part of an existing case. So if your post is not aware that you're part of a case, then you aren't part of a case at this point. Okay. Now, right now, the decision is with the judge. They're expecting that sometime in this month of May, anticipating the next couple of weeks. Once that judge issues the decision, it would next go to a district judge decision, and that decision would take another month or so to occur sometime in June. If both those judges accept the final settlement, it is a $2.7 billion settlement, the largest ever in the United States. It has about a 95% support from all participants in the settlement process. That is, BSA, insurance companies, chartering organizations, as well as the tort lawyers and all of the lawyers that represent the victim groups. So there's very few that are not supportive of that. So that's pretty much unprecedented in history to have that high level of support. So once that's complete, then everything's set to move forward, and we should be past all of Chapter 11 and shouldn't have to deal with it anymore. So as far as how National American Legion and American Legion as an organization, we every year we have a national scouting conference for the American Legion. The last one was the end of, I believe it was September 29th of 2021. The National Americanism Commission, as well as the National Judge Advocate on that meeting, basically it reiterated that the position of the American Legion remains that the American Legion fully supports the scouting program. Okay, and then there were several, discussion points, and, people were asking, hey, should we continue to charter, that kind of thing. The bottom line on that is cease and participation in the program does nothing to reduce litigation risk from prior incidents. Okay. And if you remain with the scouting program, there's protections under the settlement for charter, you know, for the American Legion charter programs. Okay. Part of the settlement, the Boy Scouts of America in the 70s began developing the current youth protection processes. Those have evolved over the decades and are pretty well integrated into the programs. And if those are followed appropriately, and training is kept current, and you stay on top of any of the changes that occur in the training, there's virtually no chance that someone will have the chance to victimize of youth within the BSA program. Okay. But it's extremely important, and this is important from a charter organization perspective, your post, for the post programs, the youth protection training and all of the processes associated under that program, they have to be strictly adhered to within that. So that's an oversight thing that each post should be providing through their, what we call their charter organization. Could be your charter scouting chair within a post, but your charter organization representative to that unit should be overseeing and monitoring that to make sure from a charter organization perspective that you know, all the adults are complying. And by victimization, that's an emotional abuse, that's physical abuse, that's sexual abuse, that's any form of abuse for youth. Okay. The other thing is the BSA liability insurance through the settlement process, and how the approaches are done and the protections in there has been restructured. That has caused an increase in individual registration fees, because that cost has, you know, has to be you know, absorbed across the thing. But the insurance through your registration is better than it was prior to this settlement process starting. Okay. So that's the status of the Chapter 11. So are there any questions on any of this material? I'll go ahead and leave this slide up, but is there any questions on any of this material that I've gone over?
Hey, Steve, I'd just like to throw in real quick. We had a meeting in April. We had the scouts in, the scout troop was helping with the breakfast, clearing the tables and whatnot. One of the parents was there before he left, and before we started the meeting, he signed up and was a member.
Yep.
So very good opportunities there.
Yep, we have we haven't gotten the second troop for boys, but you know, our scoutmaster and several leaders from the troop for girls and the troop for boys are members of the post, and the venture crew, post members and SAL members, as well as auxiliary members have come, you know, out of that crew. I think SAL got 15 new members when they over the course of the crew forming. So that were not associated with the Legion prior. So so I don't know if you guys have the little reactions button on the bottom of your screen, but if you have scouting units chartered at your post, if you want to go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Okay, quite a few. And okay, we'll let those clear. And if you are looking or interested in forming a scout unit but don't have one currently, if you want to go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Okay, no response in there. Okay, so like I say, I've got it in there. If some of the people came in afterwards, I'll go ahead and repost this in the chat. So that's got my contact information, the email I'm using for the scouting chair functions, shifting all that over, and going to be talking to Pat and Mike Smith about getting a link on the department webpage, so we can get the scouting resources a little more available through that venue as well. Okay. Any other last minute questions?
Steve, I have a question for you. My post, we charter a Boy Scout troop and pack, and there's even a girls group with that as well. And I keep getting a lot of these emails from, and I'm not going to mention his name in this format, but and then I talk to the Scoutmaster, and then I'm told you don't have to worry about that. So I am not 100% sure exactly what the responsibilities are for us as a chartered
organization rep.
Yeah.
Are you getting emails out of an individual, or are you getting emails from a system about an application?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So it comes
So,
out of the district as well as the system.
yeah. If you're the chartered organization representative, then you should be signing on the applications for all adults that join the unit.
Okay.
Okay. You don't sign on the youth. That's all troop committee chair processes all of the youth. But the final approval on any adult that works with a scout troop chartered, to your units or to your post, is the charter organization representative.
Okay.
Because you are on behalf of the, essentially on behalf of the post executive committee, are approving that leader to work with the youth in that unit.
Okay.
So, and a key thing on that, when you go in to review those applications, whether it's paper or it's online, they have to put references on there. Okay. They have to answer questions regarding their background on that, and there is a criminal background check on that.
Okay.
So you need to check to make sure that those are complete, and don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call a couple of the references and ask about them.
Okay.
It's kind of a due diligence thing just to check that. A lot of the adults that come in have kind of been, the Scoutmaster or the committee chair has probably pre-vetted them already as they come in. They've met them, they've talked to them, and that background check will pop if they have a background of domestic abuse or any kind of criminal record. That'll pop when that background check goes. It is very similar to the one that's used for like Young Guns or like American Legion baseball, but it's formalized through the scouting program, so it's a separate background check for scouting.
Okay.
So,
So
but yeah, that's that. You should at least be going in and looking at those. When I get one on one of the units that I'm the chartered organization rep for, I don't sign it off until I have talked to the committee chair or the Scoutmaster. I usually talk to both, or the venture crew advisor and the committee chair there, and just verify, talk to them about it and so forth before I actually sign it. So
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Steve? No. Doug shaking his head.
Well, I appreciate everybody taking the time to come in, learn a little bit more about scouting, and I'll be at convention. I'll have information there as well for the programs, and like I say, right now that it's time to strike while the iron's hot, and help the scouting program grow as we come out of all the challenges that they've had over the last couple of years.
Hey, thanks for the presentation, Steve.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been very helpful, very informative. And we will be posting this out on the department's website as well. So pass the word for anybody that might have missed the coming on to the presentation, that they can go out and see it. It'll probably be up next week. So there's
Okay.
nobody in the office right now to upload it. So just watch for it next week.
And like I say, if you follow the link that's in that chat, right now there's 4 folders in there. And that has pretty much information on everything that was briefed tonight on the slides, as well as this slide presentation is in there. So there's a library there for you to look at.
Can you possibly paste that into the chat?
It is in the chat.
Oh,
That's what you said.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, sorry, missed that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's in the chat as well as my contact information.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again. That was, like I say, this was very informative and I learned a lot tonight and now I just got to process it all myself. So, and, just really understanding a little bit more about the things that we have a responsibility for, because our charter, we got involved because a church had dropped the charter and didn't agree with the boys and the girls being blended together. And somehow or another, these people got a hold of us and we ended up taking on their troops and packs.
Yep.
So it's been very interesting. They're quite a dynamic group because they do so many things that whenever I call them and say, we need some help, those kids, they just jump up and they're ready to help at a moment's notice. It's really amazing that
Well,
we can do with
Yeah,
it.
I didn't mention it, but if you come down to our post, that we the front of our post as well as the back of our post has gone through some significant renovations over the last couple 3 years. The front, there's 4 completed Eagle projects out front, and then our back area has 1 completed Eagle project, and we have 3 or 4 more we just kind of set aside that if they come ask that they could scope out and work on. But that that's rock paver walkway with bench and gravel landscaping. There was decorative edging and plant, horseshoe pits and burn pits for flag retirement, together with rock ground cover, flag disposal blocks. In the back, we had an individual last October in 1 day put in 160 feet of privacy fence for what will eventually enclose a kid's play structure in the back, and that was an Eagle Scout project. So there's tremendous opportunities working through that way. The venture crew, they come in and they help clean up after dinners. They view that as kind of their part of their service back to the post for providing them a program. They work with the young guns. And like I say, we've got several firearms instructors now. They're going to be part of the staff on the young guns for the adults, as well as assistant instructors under 21 and apprentice instructors under 18 that'll be working with that program on the NRA certifications. So
That's great.
so those are that's with the venture crew. So
That's pretty amazing. And
yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about, I know I talked with you about it a while ago, but sometimes that there's special awards that the kids can put in for, or is it the Scoutmaster that puts in for it, or the charter organization when the kids help do like a special project? I think I talked with you about our Tomb of the Unknown Soldier that we did last year for the 100th anniversary.
They can those are all project opportunities they can go if they want to feed that into a program. So if you share it with them, they may or may not have the interest or the time, depending on the volume that they're going. As a charter organization, kind of our job is just to lay out opportunities. They aren't going to take all the opportunities you may lay out, which is fine. Like I said, that the patch program is not a scouting program, but it's a program within the auxiliary that's available also to SAL. However, all the materials are stored under the auxiliary, so you can't get to the files unless you're an auxiliary member and have a login on the site. So, but you know, go to the auxiliary, tell them about it, have them look it up and pull the materials down for your
Okay.
post. But there's a lot of things in there in that patch program that do, you know, it can align across to some of the advancement requirements in Scouts. So if they're working something on the SAL or the junior auxiliary side, that it may be kind of a symbiotic program working back and forth
Okay.
with the scouting program. But you know, we do, you know, you put out to the Scouts when we do, you know, when you're doing you know, honors for Memorial Day or, you know, Veterans Day.
Right.
You know, and they can provide support to those kinds of events. We had Scouts from the units with us on the Veterans Day parade here in Colorado Springs. So there's a lot of things going back and forth that we can work on. You can incorporate them into your 4th of July celebration activities, those kinds of things as well.
Okay.
So
Good to know. Very good to know. Well, thank you for that information.
yeah, I think, you know, any opportunity you get to integrate the, not just, you know, have the programs as an adjunct of the post. You want to try to integrate them into your post programs,
Mhm.
you know, in all the ways that make sense for your post. That builds a much stronger bond than just, okay, I'll sign your charter, you know.
Right. Right. Well, I have to say, I don't know much about Boy Scouting for obvious reasons. My brothers were all Eagle Scouts, but I, you know, being a girl and the time of our, you know, country, that girls
Mhm.
didn't belong to the Boy Scouts. So I was always rushed off to another room.
Yeah.
But
We
you know,
came up, I have
now,
a daughter too, and you know, she did the Brownie and the Junior Girl Scouts, didn't like seniors. So when
yeah,
she turned 14, she joined Boy Scouts. She joined a venturing
yeah,
program, and she was in a high adventure crew. And then when she was in college, she was in a explore post that was the ground element of the search and rescue for King County, Washington.
oh, that's awesome.
And so that was, you know, so, and now, let's say, starting at 5 years old, through the entire age span of the program, there's an opportunity for a girl to participate if that is the program that best fits her and the family. So.
Nice. And is there a big change for, I mean, you guys still do all your camping and everything, your weekend and week-long getaways and things like that?
Yeah, there's actually there's no change. When they implemented the both the girls into the Cub Scout packs and started Troops for Girls in the Scouts BSA program, it's all the same requirements.
Nice.
There's no difference between their requirements. You have Troops for Girls and Troops for Boys attending the week-long summer camp. They have the same high adventure activities, you know, the 12-day backpacking treks down in Philmont in New Mexico, or you know, canoeing treks up in you know, the northern tier area, boundary waters, Summit Reserve, Summit Bechtel Reserve Sea Base down in the Florida Keys, which has scuba and open water sailing, as well as fishing expeditions out of there. So there's some really great, you know, programs and for them that go year round. And troops, some packs have minimal programs because the families are traveling during the summer. But we encourage year-round activities in all of the programs. Troops are almost, and venture crews are almost always year-round.
Wow.
And the summers when they do the big programs. So.
Wow. Well, that's great. There's a lot to learn, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for the presentation tonight. Like I said, it was very educational and very informative. I know I'll be taking some of this back and talking with my group that we're chartering, and share the information with them, and even give them the link so that they can come out and watch this with you.
Okay.
Presentation. So
Sure. And if you download that charter organization representative guidebook, that is a really good resource for, you know, charter organization rep, as well as you know, the post looking to familiarize herself with what the aspect is of supporting a scouting program.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you again. And does anybody else have any other questions? And with that, I will bid everybody a farewell and a good evening. And thank you for taking the time to come out tonight and listening to Steve's amazing presentation. So thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks.
Thanks all. Have a good evening.
Bye.
right.
Thanks.